Thank you, Commissioner Mauer. Good evening, everyone. It is truly a pleasure to be here before you. I hail from Miami, Florida, and I hope you are enjoying the weather that I brought with me today. If it was about another 5 degrees warmer, it would be a winter time in South Florida. But it's great to be here. I've been on board now for about 7 months. And I have to tell you, we have been through some trials and tribulations as it pertains to the budget and the county's position. And tonight, what I wanted to do, and I thought about it, and I said, as a governmental unit, most importantly, how do we be as transparent as possible to the community? And I thought about tonight as far as us talking about the budget and our financial situation. How do I bring it down to a level that I'm comfortable with? How do I get across our current structure and what we're going through as simple as possible? And tonight what we have done is provided you with a handout. And I just want to make sure everyone does have a handout. If you do not have a handout, there's a few on the table. And what that handout really signifies is the mere fact that Commissioner Bauer had walked you through pretty much pages 1 through 4, talking a little bit about property tax, talking a little bit about the county situation and what the counties in the state of Washington is currently facing. What I wanted to do briefly this evening was to take you a little bit through our structure. I think it's important to understand the county structure. And the point of view that I'm giving you is, if I had to look at it myself, once again to refresh myself, as far as how the county government is composed from a financial point of view, taking a look at our county structure, looking at some of our major revenue sources, where are the problems? What are we currently facing with this recession? What have we done as a county when we take a look at we need to make some drastic reductions? What are some of the cost-saving measures? Some of the quote-unquote anti-recessionary measures that we call more of a one-time measure to pull us through the tough times. So what I wanted to do briefly was just to highlight some of those items as we look at page 5 and beyond. And again, Commissioner Bauer did an excellent job of really walking through the first 4 pages. But as I mentioned, we have been through a number of trials and tribulations with the county. And if you look at the county structure financially, we provide some core services. Not only do we provide core services, those core services are really truly broken down into a number of funds. We call them funds, and we look at them as checkbooks. Each one of those funds have a checkbook. And I want to bring your attention to page 5, if we can just take a look at that as I talk about the core services that the county provides. Again, our core services that we provide is law and justice, our general government, community services, public works, and health and human services. Those core services make up the $328 million budget for 2009 that the county has, a $328 million budget. Now within those core services, directly to the right, you see that we have various funds. One of those funds is the general fund. And as I mentioned, if you look at the county as a checkbook, you can look at the general fund as a checkbook, special revenue fund as a checkbook. But the most important one that we wanted to talk about tonight, the one that we have our budget challenges in, is the general fund. It's the one fund that you think about outside of public works when you think about county government. You think about the law enforcement, the administrative services, the board of county commissioners, the treasurer, the clerk, the auditor who are present here tonight. That's the general fund that we have our trials and tribulations in, and that's the portion that we wanted to focus on tonight. But that's what's a little bit of a structure, just taking a look at how the county is structured. How has the recession impacted the county's budget? And that's the question that I posed on page 6. Well, we have had a major decline in our revenue sources, our retail sales tax, our real estate excise tax, permitting revenue as it relates to our Department of Community Development. In addition to that is our property tax revenue, as Commissioner Bauer alluded to, with the 1% limit and the cap. What I have done on the next 3 slides, and you can see, I wanted to take you through a little variation, taking a look at history. As far as our property tax, our sales tax, what's going on with our revenue, as far as our permit construction activity is concerned. And I wanted to capture, as clear as possible, what we are currently facing. Taking a look at our sales tax revenue, Sales tax revenue in 2004, all the way up to 2007, we had experienced a growth in revenue from sales tax. 2008, as Commissioner Bauer explained, as we went into this recession, we noticed that our sales tax revenue was on the decline. We had to make some adjustments to our sales tax revenue. And in 2009, our sales tax revenue for 2009 is actually looking as revenue was back in 2004, 2003. That chart just really sums up exactly what's transpiring with our sales tax revenue. What we're experiencing today are back in 2004, 2003 levels as far as our sales tax revenue collection. The property tax, I wanted to show you as briefly and clear as possible. Take a look at property tax. The chart we have before you is a bar chart that shows you property tax over the past several years as far as what has been collected. Just above that line, you do see a small little line just above that, which signifies if we did not have the 1% limitation, how far below the graph are we on a yearly basis when we talk about property tax? And our property tax has two components. One, we are held to the 1% limit, but in addition to that, we do receive some revenue for new construction. But overall, if we had to take a look at our property tax and look at it from a cumulative point of view, it's a $7.5 million loss of revenue that we have estimated when we look at property tax. Again, this is nothing new. We just wanted to give you some information as we go through this period, as we take a look at this recession, that we are impacted. We are impacted as far as sales tax is concerned. We are impacted when it comes to property tax. We have a 1% growth limit when we have our expenditures that are growing at a 4 and 6% level each year. Our real estate excise tax, and that is tied to the sale of real estate when we look at transactions. And there's some correlation there. When you look at the sales, the REIT, we call it the REIT, the real estate excise tax. And if you take a look at that, you can see how that has begun to plummet from 2008. And if you take a look at 2009 and what's transpiring in 2009, we are continuing to see this decline for real estate excise tax. And again, just like sales tax, the position we are in right now as far as what we're collecting on the real estate excise tax is putting us back to where we were in 2002, 2003, 2001. Limits that we have not seen in quite some time. This economic recession.
What do you use the REIT for?
The REIT is used for construction, acquisition. We talk about REIT when we do roadway improvements, lighting improvements, park facilities. REIT dollars is used for those capital expenses and capital projects that are identified in the capital facilities plan. So that's what we typically use REIT for, those particular items. But the REIT excise tax of $3.2 million is what we're currently projecting for 2009. As you can see, that is far way below the 2004 level. Those couple of charts will just give you an indication of exactly what we're experiencing on our major revenue sources. It's a topic that I've been talking about since I've been with the county over the past 7 years, and it seems like every time I walk into a room, they say, well, what bad news do you have for us today? It's just unfortunate that in this economic situation that we're in with this recession, we are trying to determine, we are constantly taking a look and trying to forecast revenues, trying to curtail our expenses, and this has just become a daily activity that the county is going through. And as Commissioner Bauer stated before, when the revenues were plenty and the economic situation was great, we had a tendency to keep our head down, not to communicate with the public, to just move forward. Now we find ourselves in a situation where we have to second guess ourselves. We have to reevaluate our core services, reevaluate our financial situation, and move forward. The last chart I wanted to show you was the actual community development chart. This is taking a look at permit activity. And as I mentioned before, when there's a correlation, when we see real estate excise tax dollars are down, we see our sales taxes down.